Hello guys, and welcome back to Pete Dahlgren Building. I'm here, Models F86. Again, we're getting ready to start the sheeting process. Before that, we've got a lot of sanding and a lot of shaping to do. I wanted to go over some parts that a lot of guys come and ask me about on Facebook about this, about the canopy latch system. Before this, I showed you guys I actually showed you the iFly Achilles canopy hatch, which is a positive lock, and it's a good system, especially when you have something that's this big. That's going to be, I mean, this is a very large part. You're going to be putting a lot, and you're going to be putting a $400 cockpit in that damn thing. You better make sure you got it. Actually, they're more than that, but I'm going to make mine myself. And what we're going to do now, guys, is I've already started this. I want to bring in some points. There's a lot of these pieces that are put in here to give this a lot of strength in here on the leading edge. You're going to be building a lot of this up with balsa to give it something to glue to and everything else. So basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start sanding this down. This is going to take a few days. It's not an easy thing. Now, I added some bracing back here. I used some of the scrap plywood, and I made these pieces here, which are going to give a lot of strength because I'm using the two-piece fuselage here. And you'll notice there's a little bit of a gap in here, and that's because I loosened the bolts up. Now, they do tighten up, but you want, when you sheet, you want to be able to sheet this up into... You want to sheet this so this is remaining tight. Now the scale line would be right here on the real airplane where it would actually break here, and it actually goes at an angle, but it breaks apart here, and it has to because of where there's a lot of bracing, as you see, that's in here and there. And it just makes more sense for it to be right here. If you put it back here, you couldn't get to your turbine easier and all that. And guys, actually, with a Dremel and a 90, once you're in there, you're going to be able to set your turbine in there, and you're going to be able to get an angle drill into it. And you can do it from the top anyway. You got plenty of room to drill. So it's not a problem to get in there to mount the turbine and the exhaust pipe in there. It's really no big deal. There is some thinking that you got to do before you start thinking about this, and it's very important that you go through and you fit these parts before you glue them in first. Now, guys, once this is glued, this structure is extremely rigid as it is, but you can't cut it off of the jig until you've at least sheeted this thing at least halfway, and then we can flip it over, and then I'll show you how I'm going to actually make using these as templates. I'm going to be using this particular frame, which is number 14, and I'm going to use it, and I'm going to trace it out on high density foam, and I'm going to cut it out to fit there. And then as well is that, then I'll make a template for, so this all sits in, and there'll be two individual parts that I'll make out of high density foam, mainly because it's going to be strong enough and it'll glue better. And that is something that you just glue together and you make the $2, and then you can work on it anywhere. And it's like I said, it's a very big airplane. The way it's sitting on this table right now, this is why I don't set it on a standard workbench, and I actually set it on a table or something. It's only about maybe a foot off the ground where it's comfortable to work on, and then it's fine. Now, the sheeting process on this is going to take a lot of time, and so I will only post a few videos to show the progress of it, and then I will show how I make certain parts for it so that they fit exact. And we're going to start from the back and work our way to the front. The front, I'm going to use 1-inch planking, or maybe even 3/4 of an inch, but I'm thinking 1 inch because this is pretty critical that this nose be set up right for when you actually go to form this nose, because it'll make or break it. But as you can see, you need a long bar to kind of come in and blend all these out and get them to where this actually sands down. Don't over sand it, but you're going to have to do it to get all these parts kind of flat and done. When it's inverted, I will go through and glue everything else underneath again, and I'm always finding certain joints that I did not do. It's very important that before you start sanding these frames that you've gotten every glue joint and that they're actually done and done right. You're going to see some are wider. They're done on purpose that way because you want to be able to sand that smooth. You don't want to glue directly on this without sanding this and truing it up. You want to get all your bumps off it, and you want to make sure that you got this as nice as you can. And you want to use an easy sander or some kind of a sanding bar to be able to get these contours correct and right. They will take some time, and you want to make sure that these are all using a straight edge. You want to make sure that when you are sanding this, that these are all flat and they're all done. You don't want to be putting a sheet and having gaps like that. So you're going to have to take your time and sand this thing to get it to where all the parts, so when they do actually go, let's see if I can do this. I'm using a piece of plastic here that is straight and it's flexible. So when you do come up here and you get these in there, that these are actually flat enough to where when you glue your planking down, it's actually good and straight. Got glue all over I work today, so I did some plumbing and I achieved greatness. Another thing we want to do up here is we want to make sure that these two pinholes that are down there are done, and you have alignment pins done in this before you completely do this, because if you have your canopy off center, there are pins in there. If there's nothing in there to line it and you don't have it done, you're going to ruin that part and it will be a nightmare to fix. So you want to make sure that you have all of these parts completely done and made. Now, my intention is to fill some of this in sheet part of this, because I am going to actually use this as the inside canopy frame. Now, some guys noticed this. What I did here is I cut this out. This is a two-piece string or frame, but this is actually one that we want to be paying attention to, because when we cut all this away after we've done the sheeting, don't cut this until you've sheeted this. And you're going to want to put in some bracing under there, because I'm going to make an opening canopy, and that's something, the sliding canopy is there. Now, this is actually going to be a built-in windshield frame, and then the rest of this, of course, part of it gets cut off. Some of it does, some of it does not. But it does come back and will be cut around into here, and then this piece, and this piece will just stay right where it is after it's been done. So I cut it off and reset this one. This one needs to be cut and reset over to here. And then I will reuse this one and reshape it so that it is back into here, and then I will fill these pieces in with either plywood, or I might even use basswood, and glue these in. And this is going to be the actually this will be cut flush down here. There'll be legs that'll come down 1/4 of an inch from right there, and then there'll be another piece of 1/4 inch plywood that will go to the top that will actually follow this entire contour up to here. And this will be the frame for the sliding canopy, because there's going to be 2 rails that slide straight in. You can't follow the curve in there to get it to move, because it won't. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this, we're going to set them inside where you don't see them. We're going to make this all real good so that when the canopy or the cockpit box slides in there, it's actually built into this whole structure. And that means that we're going to have to add some 1/4 inch balsa wood into here and go all the way back to where it is, because there are details that slide back on this other piece in there. Plus this has another piece that gets cut in here to where you're going to see it, because it's going to do. And then what I'm going to do here basically, guys, I'm going to get plywood. I'm going to cover it in Cyrene, and then all my details will be made onto that. And so I am going to be using some stuff from iFly Achilles and a lot of their screws and stuff. I'm going to be making a lot of the panels. This is going to take a lot of time to do, but it's going to be something. I don't want to have the same cockpit everybody else has, so I'll be using a lot of the panels. And I like their quality on a lot of their stuff is amazing. It's beautifully printed stuff and this and that. And then I will be using the pilot I'm going to actually have scanned in my face, and I don't know if he's going to have long hair or not, but with a helmet on and sunglasses on, he'll look just like me. So I plan on doing that and making him automated. He's going to move, and he's going to move his arms up and down and stuff like that, and it's just going to be kind of cool. And these will be things that we do while we're doing one thing, we'll be doing another. And so I'll be bouncing around here in the next few episodes to explain more of what I'm doing. But this is where it gets fun. But remember, you're building this, it's a big airplane, it needs a lot of little bracing and stuff like that done, and we'll be talking about this stuff as we go. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in a next episode.